to the finale session of the Middle East Retail Forum. I don't know how many of you have been attending this since yesterday. We had a very exciting 2 days of Middle East Retail Forum. We've discussed almost every aspect of retailing and the changing face of retail. This concluding session, I personally designed it, and I've got some interesting videos for you and an interesting panel. The idea is to really discuss the future look of shopping centers. What will the shopping centers of the future look like? The reason why this is the finale session is because if we've discussed in the last 2 days what's the future of retail, I think it becomes very important to discuss what will the shopping centers look like if retail is changing so fast. So I'm going to start my presentation. I have actually structured the whole discussion in few parts. So first is going to be the introductory remarks by the panelists. I'm going to introduce a video to you on consumerism, the changing world of shopping centers. There's another video. Then we're going to discuss the 7 key drivers of shopping centers, and then Q&A if you have any questions for us. And finally, I have a small brief on the last word, what's been concluded. So I'm going to start with, Shelley, if you could start introductions from everybody on their views.
Great. So I'm just going to sort of go in no particular order, but let me start with you, Anup. How do you see the scenario changing in over the next 5 to 10 years? What's your vision for retail? What are your expectations on how highly evolved the idea of shopping and entertainment combined will be?
You want me to start with introducing myself?
Sure, of course, yes.
Hi, my name is Anup, General Manager for Leasing for Line Investment Property LLC, which is part of the Lulu Group International. We basically run shopping malls. We have approximately 13 malls running across GCC, and we are planning to open few more. We mainly focus on community malls, and we also have a couple of regional malls across the region. Now, to start with what you were saying, you know, I've been in this country for the past 10 years, and I've been mainly in Abu Dhabi, and I've seen how the changes has happened in this part of the world. I think starting with the mall like Mall of Emirates, Dubai Mall, where we've seen the focus mainly is not just about shopping. They have entertainment elements, like Ski Dubai, like the Dubai Aquarium, like the largest fountain. And I think that's what attracts people to come and shop at the same time and enjoy the various elements within the mall. In Abu Dhabi, for instance, when I joined the company Line Investment, there were mainly only 3 major malls, or probably 2 major malls, which is Marina Mall and Abu Dhabi Mall. So we introduced probably another 5 or 6 malls in Abu Dhabi. And we given a choice for customers, because all those customers were mainly coming to Dubai to shop. So we want to stop them, we want to give them elements within Abu Dhabi. So that's what we see. In terms of future, I think shopping center is very important. I think for retail, it's shopping malls are the platform for them to house their various brands, to showcase the products, and which makes them the whole aspect of selling the products and then customers coming in and so on. So it's necessary.
It's necessary.
Yeah.
Okay. Mr. Mohammed Alawi, CEO of Red Sea Markets, how do you see the landscape changing? And you know, the kind of expansion you've done in the last few years gives you a good pulse of what's happening here.
Well, first of all, good afternoon, everybody. In the past, we used to describe the relation between retailer and developers as sleeping with the enemy. I don't know how fun will be now sleeping with technology. But anyway, I think we get used to deal with retailer, and retailer also get used to adopt a lot of changes in their format, in their method of sales, and training, and their staff and things. And I don't think the problem is how we're going to adapt the new format or a new way of changing the retailing, because retailing had been changed in the past from the souks to and merchants. to a proper shopping mall and sales to a proper corporate retail. And we keep adopting to those all changing. Laws have been changed, laws of safety and security and taking care of our customer and the dealing with them have been changed. I think the question should be asked how fast this change happened and how fast we as a developers and shopping mall owners and operators going to be moving ahead of the games. And I think this is the trick of the whole issues in the future coming.
Right, interesting. Not just about changing sensibilities, but actually coming up to speed. Lee, at Burjuman, what are you looking at in terms of the bet on the future?
Yeah, well, for Bergeraman, as it's started as like a landmark mall and extremely high profile in the marketplace, and it's a shopping centre that's launched a large number of retail businesses in the region. I can see Ishwar there from Giordano, who started his business at Bergeraman, as have a lot of others. So as competition has come into the market, Bergeramans need to reconsider where it is, what its positioning is, what its positioning needs to be in the future. So today's session is very relevant for us in that we're at the tail end of doing a major redevelopment and introducing a number of new categories, including entertainment, cinemas, family entertainment. So, so very relevant for us.
Rajiv, coming to you, talking of entertainment, you're of course looking at several entertainment zones and merchandise. What is the firm engaged with at this moment? What are you doing, and what do you see the future of shopping malls like?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Rajiv Sangari, Vice President for IMG Group of Entertainment Zone. I feel entertainment is a guiding paradigm for the malls as of now. And at the same time, I feel that it has now been considered as a very powerful variable tool for the consumer preferences, as we all know that now. So it's all about the commoditization as to how the one mall is going to be different from the another. What is the one merchandise going to be different from the other, from the same merchandise in a different store? It's not about that. It's all about how and what we are going to give along with that, which is going to make all the difference. It's all about, is it the services, is it the entertainment which is going to be clubbed in along with those services, with that merchandise stuff, or probably within the mall, which is going to make all the difference, in fact. So I feel it's extremely important to realize that entertainment and many other factors are definitely going to play a very important role, not only for the malls, but in many other spheres also at the same time.
Okay, let's get a perspective from Silvio for Landmark Leisure. What trends are you picking up, and truly, are you feeling that there is need for transformation at this stage?
Absolutely. So, and I do believe, you know, if you really consider the fact that, you know, there are quite a substantial amount of voices in the North American market, for example, from very, very highly respected retail operators and consultancy who foresee the death of the shopping mall in North America in the next 20 years. You know, and I do believe the session is relevant from this perspective. What we have heard so far is, we all know that, but I think the malls have to totally reinvent themselves. The first thing is the application of digital technology. Yeah, and if you think that the technology already exists to virtually scan your body and adjust the clothing range of that shop digitally onto your scanned body, you know, or you have concepts in North America open now where you can, via your mobile phone, you can order a fast food item and you don't have to queue, yeah, because it's ready on a shelf and you just go and pick it up with your scanned barcode. So what I'm saying is, you see it in airports who are slowly trying to digitalize the customer experience with holographic 3D images of a customer service agent, you know. For me, though, there's all kind of rudimentary attempts, but it shows the way where it's going to go, yeah. Operating costs are not getting smaller for any mall. Customer become more impatient. Queue is just a no-go. A practical environment. For me, quite important is, and I'm quite astonished how many shopping centers still get that wrong, is the convenience of a customer just does not end and start with the choice of shops in the mall. It starts how easy I find my way to that environment, how easy I can park my car, or how close any public transport station is, how quite relevant for Dubai, how easy is it to get a taxi once I finish shopping, yeah? So, for me, quite important. And the leisure and lifestyle, I always keep saying, I get asked quite often to talk about the importance of leisure in the retail environment. I always turn around that phrase and say the importance of retail in a leisure/lifestyle environment. And so if you combine all those factors, I think the malls of the future, if they don't address that right from a design stage, particularly I can see that, as an operator in shopping centers, I usually get asked 5 minutes past 12, now would you like to do an FEC? But it's in a corner there, you don't have any accessibility, and we just couldn't find any retailer who takes that space, so let's ask the leisure operator. So if the lifestyle choices, the experience factor is not designed in right from the start, I personally believe the mall is already doomed to fail in the long run.
And that's why that takes me now to Leonard Otto. Leonard, just taking from where he said that, you have to have concept, you've got to have something to do with lifestyle as a very inherent DNA of any mall that plans to exist, or any shopping experience. And you're in the business with Wadi Adventure. Tell us a little bit about that.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to look at it a little bit more different from the leisure perspective, and how leisure is starting to move more into shopping malls, how the hotels are starting to move more into shopping malls. What I see over the last 5 years, and sort of where the progression is going, is that the malls is becoming the focal point, the destination. Every shopping mall nowadays has some sort of hotel linked to it. It has food and beverage facilities linked to it. It has entertainment, leisure facilities, water parks linked to it. If we look at Yas Mall, that's just opened up, or is busy opening up, 2 mega theme parks attached to it. If we look at Dubai Mall, the entertainment centers, you've got a hotel, you've got the mall, you've got focal attractions. Malls are nowadays looking more like it's becoming the actual tourist destination itself, where people are actually traveling to the mall because they can have a complete immersive experience. They don't have to travel anywhere else. Once they reach the mall, there's a hotel, there's leisure, there's entertainment for kids, there's food and beverage, there's shopping. The malls are actually becoming the tourist attraction instead of just being a byproduct where people go and shop and then have to go somewhere else to do leisure, go somewhere else to stay. Why not make that the destination itself, and that could become a major tourism drive, and that's what I see malls are turning towards the future.
Thank you. What I want to do next is I want to really show you where the consumer is going and what the consumer is doing now, how is he shopping, and then we'll come to the next part of what shopping centers and what's the environments that we need to create for these consumers, the changing consumer. I showed this video yesterday. It's a very interesting video. I'm sure you'll like it.
South Korea is a unique market. Tesco has been evolving itself, adjusting to the local market. It even changed the name itself from Tesco to Home Plus. And at last, it grew to rank number 2 in Korea. But Tesco had to overcome one obstacle, a fewer number of stores compared to the number 1 company, Emart. Mission: could we become number 1 without increasing the number of stores? We made an in-depth study into Koreans once more. Koreans are the second most hardworking people in the world. For them, grocery shopping once a week is a dreaded task. So we decided to approach these busy and tired people. Idea: let the store come to the people. We created virtual stores, hoping to blend into people's everyday lives. Our first try was subway stations. Although virtual, the displays were exactly the same as actual stores, from the display to the merchandise. Only one thing was different. You use smartphones to shop. Scan the QR code with your phone and the product automatically lands in your online cart. When the online purchase is done, it will be delivered to your door right after you get home. People can relax more after work and on weekends.
실제로 보면서 사니까 진짜 더 좋은 것 같아요. 편하기도 하고.
Result: people can shop at Tesco Home Plus wherever they go without having to visit the actual store. Moreover, we could change their waiting time to shopping time. After this campaign, online sales increased tremendously. Through this campaign, 10,287 consumers visited the online Home Plus mall using smartphones. The number of new registered members rose by 76%, and online sales increased 130%. Currently, Home Plus has become #1 in the online market and is a very close second offline.
Britain's high streets have taken a battering since the economy fell into recession in 2008. Tough market conditions have led many firms to give up their high street shops. But they're not disappearing completely. Instead, retailers are opening bigger, jazzier outlets in shopping centres. High property taxes and weak consumer spending have caused the change in strategy. Last year, shopping online increased by 16%, squeezing traditional stores. Across Britain, 1 in 7 shops now lies empty, and 2013 hasn't started well. HMV, an iconic chain of record stores, has barely managed to keep its doors open after becoming the latest in a string of firms to enter administration. Amid the gloom, retailers are rethinking how they build their businesses, and shopping centres are benefiting. British retailers are now coalescing around a few large shopping centres, like the Westfield Centre in London and the revamped Bullring in Birmingham. The malls keep retailers happy by providing plentiful floor space, cheap or free car parking, and easy access for delivery lorries. They attract customers by becoming destinations in their own right, boasting fancy architecture, high-end brands, and plenty of things to do other than shop. Here, smart retailers use their shops to complement their online presence rather than trying to compete with their own websites. That means keeping the whole range in stock, offering good customer service, and being appealing enough for people to travel a long way to visit. With new shopping centres set to open in Leeds in West Yorkshire and Croydon in South London, the rise of the mega mall seems set to continue. But will the boom last? In the 1960s, grey, boxy shopping centres sprang up in provincial towns and suburbs across the country, promising convenience, cheap parking, and warmth in the winter. The new shopping centres are ambitious, promising a big day out, not just a new pair of jeans. But the longer they stick around, the more people get used to them.
So if you really watch that video, it basically says fading high street, mega centers, retail rethinking, retailers reinventing themselves, big day out for the customer and not just a pair of jeans. What we are trying to say is that I think shopping centers of the future are not about just going to buy a pair of jeans. It's much beyond that, and it's all about mega centers. And this is just a backdrop to what we're going to discuss now. What we have now is the key 7 learnings and trends which really create a shopping center. Mix, location, entertainment, design, scale, anchors, and food offering. And I've actually kept food offering and entertainment as a separate thought because I believe it's all about experiential retail, which is going to play a major role in the future of shopping centers. So we could really talk about each thought and really build a future shopping center. I would suggest that if you could actually say, what would a future mega center with all these elements look like?
Okay, let's start then. Anup, let me start with you. You're undergoing major expansion at the group. You're looking at different markets and also seeing what formats you can experiment with. You've got hypermarkets and others. But importantly, what would you say would make for the key elements an ideal mix for an experiential mall?
See, first of all, I think the most important thing before looking at the key elements is to understand where you're going to construct the mall. what is the catchment? How you want to position the mall? Do you want to be big?
Come to the location. I think what we are trying to do is we are trying to say what's the mix of the mall. Location is a separate agenda.
I think the mix of the mall mainly it has a view. Nowadays, in shopping malls you bring in every elements. I mean, they bring in the elements like the fashion. We bring in the F&Bs, we bring in the anchors, we bring in the.
So that's generic. So fashion, food, entertainment is all there.
Yeah.
I'm saying what percentage would be fashion now? What percentage
Okay.
is it today?
Okay.
What percentage would you have fashion in that mall which we are trying to build?
Okay. It depends again on two aspects. If it's a regional mall or community mall.
We're talking about mega centers.
Mega centers. If it's mega centers, you're talking about, I would say 60% is fashion and 40% is the rest of the elements, which includes 30% should be the F&B and entertainment, and the 10% left is for services. This is what I usually, when we design, that's what we do.
Okay, so that's is there anyone here in the panel who believes it should be exactly the opposite, where there should be a 40% of, let's say, fashion or shopping, and the 60% should be an experience? Do you want to take that?
I certainly believe it's the case. And there's actually one sample where it's already practiced, which is in South Korea and Seoul, Lotte World, where it's around, I think, if I'm not mistaken, 63% is lifestyle and leisure, and only 37% is fashion shopping. Yeah? And it's one of the most successful shopping centers in the world.
Lee? Sorry.
Yeah, well, I think it comes down to where you are. And I think as Silvio said, he's used an example overseas. And my recent experience before Dubai was in Shanghai. So Shanghai is a market that's, shopping centre market that's maybe only 10 years old. However, the penetration of technology in China, it's now the largest online market in the world. So the online shopping has had a material impact on how the mall's mix has been formed. So you'll see lower percentages of fashion, and food is actually very high. Some malls are actually screaming up towards 25, 30% food and beverage because it's working. And other things is that different countries or shop differently. Generally in the West, we've typically gone to shop first, then we celebrate by eating. In the East, generally they go eating first and then go shopping. So
Good point.
I think it's about looking at your market and for sure starting with the benchmark.
So we get the point about the mix there. I think that's, like I said, that if we get a sense of where the mix is, we can then move on to the whole location issue. Mr. Alavi, you want to add to that? I saw you nodding at that point, so I know you have a point to make there.
I will agree with Lee that it's a case by case or country by country where the mix should be also going to the culture of the country. A country like Saudi Arabia where minimum entertainment outside of shopping mall available and minimum outlet food and fine dining out shopping mall available, which is increasing right now, I have to admit, with those new fine dining and restaurant on the cities. You could see the ratio in the food in F&B in the malls and entertainment is bigger than other country. In the North of America, if I'm not wrong, that's entertainment are minimums in shopping mall comparing to other. If you go to South Africa, it's different for security issues that malls are more entertaining people and dining. So it's issues depend about the country. But I personally think that future of the mix, it should add community service need within your GLA designs. Because more and more you are involved with your communities, and the listless of things help, like a radio, TV channel, clinics, and all those things. In the past, it was maybe not visible in some countries, or regulation doesn't support that type of mix in your regulation. But I think in the future, as much you add a certain of GLA, you have an anchors which don't participate in your profit or your revenue that much, but it participates in your traffic. I think we need to revisit our GLA by adding a space for community service. And from there, this community service will be a part of your mall day-to-day.
So what I really understand is wherever the mall is, let's look at Middle East, you are saying the earlier percentage of mix from fashion to food will obviously change because the consumer is changing. We all agree on that.
Yes.
So which means if it was 55% of fashion, obviously it will come down. Obviously entertainment is going up, food is going up. Do we agree
What
on
I'm
that?
saying, I told you in the beginning 60%. My 60% that I told you is about, it includes the hypermarket, includes everything.
So I'm saying that
it's
will
not
come
just
to
a fashion,
40%.
yeah.
Can we say that will come to, if it was 60, it will come to 40. And rest everywhere, entertainment and food will increase, which means experiential shopping will increase more than product.
Exactly.
So experience. So the first thought of ours, which is mix, we are saying experiential space will increase and products will reduce. Yeah? So let's go to the next point. Location. So what's your thought on the location and how important is going to be the location, and is it going to be still as relevant and as important? And which kind of centers you believe will play an important role? So it'll be the regional centers, it'll be the closer centers. Which centers would work more in the future? Will it be the mega faraway centers which are really large, or you'll have the smaller centers which are closer to home?
Of course, the location is always key. Having a centre that has prime location on busy access roads, big, easy shape, and generally, of course, we'd always go for more land is good than less land. And you know, as we've seen through the evolution of shopping centres, as they have got bigger and added more merchandising categories to the experience, if the more you add to a shopping centre and do it well, and get the ingredients right, align it to the market, they're successful for sure. So, you know, of course, location is critical.
See, in terms of location, what I would like to put across is, see, let's say UAE, for instance, Dubai, for instance, you have regional malls. You have the big regional malls like Dubai Mall, Mall of Emirates. Now they're declared Mall of the World is coming through. So I think the importance now, what Dubai is now focusing is now concentrating mainly on community malls. This is what I see the phase change in this part of the world. Even in Abu Dhabi, for instance, the municipality itself has come forward to tender close to 25 community malls. So you want to have community malls.
How important would location be for these?
It depends. Basically, if it's a community malls, they look at where the number of people are living, and they specifically choose a location next to the neighborhood so people can come and shop and go.
Okay.
But in that element, they're mainly focusing, I think, would say 30 to 40% on service centers. You know, like banks, exchanges, spas, and stuff, and so on.
Okay. Sure, Leonard, do you want to say that? Yeah.
Yeah, I would say probably convenience is an absolute key. If we look back towards the South Korean video of the mall, time is a limited factor, and the world is becoming more and more fast-paced. People don't have time. You know, convenience is key because people don't necessarily want to travel midweek far distances to reach a mall. You know, we're talking about malls running 7 days a week. It's not just a 2-day-a-week business. Convenience will play a key factor into keeping the mall busy 7 days a week. Having public transport access is absolutely key. Linking stuff like the metros, the taxis, the buses, you know, if it's a waterfront property, some sort of water service or a marina, all of those convenient factors will absolutely be crucial for a mega mall to be successful, looking at the tourism trade and looking at the local market.
Actually, what I was trying to come to, let me come to you after this, is if experiential retail and food is going to increase, so do we actually say that there will be no mega centers? Because you don't need a mega center if it's just experience and food. You could actually have smaller centers which are closer to the consumer, and you could have very good experiential and food centers. That's where I was trying to come.
Yeah, well, and I wanted to say, I think you can't really distinct one or the other. I think the distinction you have to make, and based on what Mr. Alavi said as well, I think the community center will explode in numbers because they will fill the need of convenience, and the mega centers have to fulfill the need of a destination value where you make a choice maybe once a week, once every 2 weeks to go, whereby the community, the convenience center for any kind of public services, health, banking, dry cleaner, for crying out loud, supermarket, you go there once, twice, 3 times a week. But the mega malls is a destination. So I think the distinction is the mega malls will exist if the destination value is really thought out. And the community center will exist because from a customer perspective myself, you know, I live in a development in Dubai which hasn't got a community center yet. We're going to open one within the next 6 months. And I know I will probably spend more time there shopping than I would spend in Dubai Mall. Yeah. So, and I think this we have to distinct there. Yeah.
So what we are basically saying is that both these centers will exist. There'll be the regional centers and there'll be community centers, which both will exist and they'll have their own role. Obviously, the mega centers, regional centers will have more experience and food. But regional...
And we have to point out, they will only exist if they really create the value of a destination. If they are just the extension of what I can find in my community center, they will cease to exist. They have to be special. Yeah?
Right. Yes. Okay, I think that takes us to the third point, which is entertainment. And you know, all of you sort of, in the discussion about the mix, alluded to the fact that there is a need for changing that mix and adding entertainment. But how big a driver is entertainment going to be? And what kind of entertainment are we looking at? Was a reference to community, for example. Rajiv, let's start with you. You're looking at entertainment zones as part of your own you know, business model. What is your experience and how key is entertainment to the future of the mall?
Well, I will speak from a broader perspective rather than from my company point of angle. My personal take is that I'm a bit confused on this one. For the simple reason, there was a time about a decade back when things like multimedia as well as probably, I would say home videos used to be huge enough. And everyone and anyone were into it actually. People used to go and consume in bulk like crazy. What's happened to it today? It's almost zilch. Same thing is happening gradually to the video game centers as well, because now video games, you don't have to go and play video games in the video game parlors. You can probably play it at your home, or you can play it anywhere, sitting in the bus or in your car. So the consumption pattern, if you're talking about in the shopping center, frankly speaking, I don't think I will be able to reply it, or I think most of us will not be able to reply that in a proper sense, because things are changing so fast. It is so nimble-footed that probably putting a finger across at how it is going to shape up in the next 10 years or 20 years is definitely a different question. But I think I will try to add up one thing out over here, at least from the trend analysis point of angle. Things change, consumption pattern changes, but there's one thing which never change, that is change. So we need to keep the differentiator factor in everything and anything that we do across. Even if it is in entertainment. Entertainment essentially does not require a differentiator because there is a captive audience over there. I love entertainment. Each one of sitting out over here in the panel and in the room love entertainment. We are captive audience. We are definitely going to consume it. But having said so, if we are able to, if someone is able to offer me a differentiator in the entertainment.
So what is that differentiator? Okay, let's say, Mr. Alavi, let's get your perspective. What is that differentiator? What will entertainment constitute? And are we loosely define the idea of entertainment as a part of a mall? Let's get some ideas on the table.
One of the things that I noticed that sometimes when we talk entertainment, that we just think in the entertainment is toward to the 12 year and below, which we do this mistake sometimes in development. I think a region that 60% of their people below 25 years, and if you go into the 18 also, you could go for the big numbers. What we discover in our mall, that's doing certain of activities for those will grab more attention of them. I'll give you a list of examples. Radio, FM channels in the malls now broadcasting. We're using the community to come and to add their perspective about mall, lifestyle things. All those rough entertainment like jumpy, bungee jumpy, and all those things, and all those theta effects. The other thing is the new generation now more into art, different art, graffitis and digital art and all things. I think malls, they need also to absorb this type of knowledge. And we done a series of an art show and different segment, men, boys, girls, even disabled who they participate. We transfer the mall, and actually we issue a book. It's called Art in the Mall. Just we published for the last 6 years of experience in the mall, where we discovered that in this journey of 6 years, we have over 12,000 people participate. We have 3,000 registered full-time young and boys are participating in all our activities. So I think we need to go out of that normal giving a car or distributing a gift to this engaging all your community to the mall, and that's I think better idea than just going to the normal classical of marketing.
What's your, what do you see entertainment looking like in the future?
I like to use this sample. I mean, the word change was mentioned, the connectivity. The nicest analogy I would like to use is the cinema. If you see, you know, because there's not a single Hollywood, Bollywood, Chinese release you can't have up to date over the internet, downloaded to your laptop instantly. Yeah, on the day of a release, sometimes even earlier. Yeah, so and mostly free of charge as well. Yeah, so how come the cinemas in the UAE are still ram-packed full for any decent release coming out? Now, and there are some cinema chains who really have evolved the customer experience substantially. You know, so the latest cinema coming out in Yas Mall will have 4 different forms of watching a movie. Either 3D, either 4DX, either gold, relaxing chair. You know, my wife is not going to the cinema with me if I don't book a gold cinema ticket. Because customer appreciate, you know, and if you ask cinema operators, they will tell you, I would like to have 20 of those screens because it's the easiest to fill, you know. So and I think why I'm using that is the fact is that it's a prime sample that despite digital choice, despite the ability to get the same content free of charge, despite 85-inch HD TVs, which you can have at home, the cinema hasn't lost its relevance because the experience is constantly adapting and moving up. You know, and you know, we enter the age of the Oculus Rift now, where Oculus Rift is a technology whereby you can transform your senses into a 3D environment, and you know, who knows what's up in store, you know, but never underestimate the power of experience, and you definitely, even in the age of digital application left, right, and center, the relevance is still there, you know, and you just have to be smart enough to work around it. And the last word to entertainment, the one thing I always say as well is the most difficult target group is the teenager. Very, very difficult. But children up to the age of 8 years old, if you look at the behavior pattern over the last 100 years, yeah, they have done 100 years ago, they have done exactly the same thing. Right. They do now. Either going on a swing carousel or playing the dodgem cars or just having play around. This behavior has not changed in a child over 100 years. Now you do the same thing for a 13-year-old, now there's a huge difference. 100 years ago, a 13-year-old had to earn money for the family already. Nowadays, they're lying on their bed with their gadget and do nothing. So, and you know, this is one thing you have to admit. So there are certain segments, target group, who change their behavior dramatically, but there's also a need, even in the future, to do the basics and do them very, very well.
It's about how you do it. It's not just always about what you're doing. It's about how you do it. Sure, yeah. So, Leonard, let's ask you, I mean, we were earlier talking about how Wadi Adventure is expanding. You recently did some new upgrades and additions. Tell us about how you're exploring, you know, the idea of innovation and what you offer. And are you looking at age groups? Are you looking at new ideas? How are you sort of splicing that?
I think when we look at these mega malls for the future, we need to understand that the entertainment industry is one of the fastest growing industries out there at the moment, and that's evolving at the same pace as what shopping malls is evolving. People, whatever you could do in the natural environment nowadays, you can do in a controlled entertainment facility, from whitewater rafting to kayaking, and we've sort of condensed a lot of those experiences into one, but it's not limited to that. You know, we look at the ski slopes now being indoors. Anything that you could do entertainment-wise in the natural environment, you can now do in a controlled environment, which is a great opportunity for malls of the future, because those entertainment or those experiences should be linked to the malls to keep people there. To piggyback off what was said earlier about the different age ranges, I think that's absolutely crucial. Understanding the different age elements and not limiting it just to the younger kids or the teens, but all the way to the adults. The adults loves entertainment, and we should sell those different experiences in different levels. We've done extensive research in our industry on sort of what's the future of our adventure tourism and adventure trade and the entertainment industry, and water parks was a growing phenomenon, and it's one of the biggest ones out there, but there's still no indoor water park out here. There's an indoor water park in Bahrain. I'm sure this will be one of the next driving factors. What will happen tomorrow is, the possibilities are endless at the moment, but entertainment, for the shopping mall guys of the future, they definitely have to keep a close eye on where the entertainment industry is going and where the leisure industry is going, and how they can make that commercially built into their facilities.
So all of these things actually eventually play into the idea from having the right mix, having an appropriate location, and of course deciding how you're going to approach different age and customers with an appropriate amount of kind of entertainment. It's how do you design the new shopping mall? What would be those design elements? Whether it would be like the video that we saw where you can click an advertisement and say, okay, I've already shopped here and I'm going to actually proceed straight to my entertainment zone. What is it that we're thinking could be the future of entertainment in terms of design? At Burjuman, any thoughts there?
Well, in terms of design, for example, our current redevelopment includes design for a family entertainment centre. So, yeah, it does. I mean, you need to look at the size of your site, how much entertainment can you accommodate, where is the entertainment heading, what can you realistically accommodate.
But more than accommodation, what is the futuristic idea of the design? What does it look like?
What design here really means is if we've got the right mix of the mall of the future, if we've got the location right, if we've got the entertainment size right, and as he's just said, that you could actually fit in large entertainments into indoors, which is obviously a good thing. And how does it impact design? How does the future mall look like? Because now it has larger entertainment, it has larger restaurants, cafes, and food offerings, and lesser fashion and lifestyle. So how will it impact design? Yeah. Will outdoor become more important? So I think design in that sense.
Yeah, so I talk from a shopping centre point of view, and so our design is the base building, or the box, if you like. So the design now is one of the few elements where you can truly differentiate yourself from another mall. So if you look at the design of Burjuman, it's quite unique. It sets itself quite different from other malls. So in that regard, the design is really important. The design should really be, the design is normally, when you're building a new mall, should be set 5 years in advance. If you're designing for today, you're out of date the day you open. So you need to have a futuristic expression of design. And then after that, of course, our design inside the mall comes from the retailers. They influence the design as well by the mix of the shops and things. So what we're really trying to do is get our design aligned with the market, what's something that's going to be uplifting, inspiring, that's going to want to bring people to the centre as a unique place to shop.
Like Mr. Alawi just said, that the social stuff needs to come into the mall in the future. Will that impact design? Because that's a big change.
I would like just to comment that we all agree that format follow function. So function is retail need and demand and size and what is the market in need. Definitely, since this is in change, your format will be changed. That's for sure. But again, it's not all about also the format and the function need. There is also about the dollar signs, how much the IRR for all that designs in the end reflect in you. I predict that.
It'll come through, yeah.
I predict that. I predict there is a a big change will be happening on the format of the hyper size. I don't think that people will go anymore for the 20,000 square meter or those huge, since there is big expansion in the communities areas, and that's another reflection on your design. There is more into entertainment and different segment of entertainment for the youth, entertainment for the kids. Those should be are being defined and decided. There is the format of the cities also need. Some countries now they're on the mode of transaction of hotel development and the need for extra hotels like Saudi Arabia. You will find more and more hotel adjacent to that format. Some countries maybe they have a shortage of clinic where they'd like to have a clinic buildings or clinics around it. So definitely the designs will be change. Moreover, I think the design who take care of the community is also cultural, because sometimes you go to a mall, you don't feel the culture of that community inside it. You will see more people are spending time on the cultural with modern style in their designs.
Can I?
Yeah, sure. Please make.
I think one of the things that we're seeing now, as I said, Silvio was saying about the entertainment element becoming more and more modern. Like you've got elements like 4DX, IMAX, things coming in. The requirements of tenants in terms of height and everything is increasing. So before it was like 10 meters, 11 meters, now the requirement is 15 meters. And entertainment, Silvio comes with a new design. He wants, they want a water theme park with an indoor, you need larger heights. So the whole scale different change. And also, depending upon location, for instance, in Saudi Arabia, in this part of the world, there are enough of land. It's not like India or Asia, where the cost of land is very expensive compared to here. So people like to go for maybe 2 levels. They don't want to go for 3 levels, 4 levels. Even they want to go for 1 level of shopping mall. I think Ibn Battuta is one of the things that you can see. And that's what you're going to see in future. I think if you have land, you will have one level of shopping mall with big heights and more atriums. This is the kind of design that you'll see in the future.
Silvio would like to make a point there.
Very good point you made, Anup. The one word I would want to use really in terms of design language is immersion. Yeah? For me, too many shopping centers are still regimented. You have your line shop, boom, boom, boom. You have your racetrack, job done. Yeah? Every mall developer thinks if he gets that right, he's sorted. But for me, the element in the future is immersion. And when I talk about immersion, I'm not just talking about design elements. I talk about functional design as well. So immersive experience where the lifestyle, the leisure, the entertainment, the food, the shopping components interact with each other. Where the infrastructure, the social needs interact with the mall environment. And I think that is a design language which the mega mall of the future certainly has to cater for, because we're coming back to what Leonard mentioned earlier, convenience. Yeah? So the immersion will be a design language of convenience. So you don't have to create 10,000 car parks for a mega mall and have to walk a kilometer from the car park to the mall environment. There are design ways to immerse this much closer with the mall environment.
Okay, that takes us to, I think we reflect.
Call it department store. So let's agree the era of department store and multi-brand, it's a really big risk. Some of them, they make it until now, but for how long, I don't know. It seemed to be the focus or the outcome of that discussion, it's the era of the solo brand. Now, since we have this fact in front of us, let's examine that our anchors, which is majorly dominated by those department store, and also there the future going to be also totally different than today. How strong the solo brand will be in the market, I don't know, but I think if you go to Dubai Mall, they have the Galeria Lafayette department store, they are suffering, and this is not a secret to anybody. Okay, and the suffering, not they are bad, or bad merchandise, or. It's for basic, there is, for every single product inside that department store, there is a mono store in the whole, this mega mall. That's number one. I personally think that the future of department store is a big question. Actually, if we moved out from the department to some other format, if you go to Virgins, I am one of the people, I don't know the identity of Virgin anymore. Is it a music or kutub or books or sweet or everything inside? So I think we need to examine the future of those department store to rethink about their anchor. I think future for mono rather than department store.
Yeah.
Told about supermarkets, hypermarkets, where they'll still be the anchors. I think end of the day, anchors are elements that bring in the footfall. Today.
That's the question. Actually, what we used to always say this, and I've been hearing this in Dubai for the last so many years, that Carrefour gets the footfall.
Yeah.
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 So that's what my question. Is Carrefour going to get the footfall, or is the entertainment center going to get the footfall, or the mega food zone is going to get you the footfall?
If you compare that with the regional malls like Dubai Mall, I would say probably entertainment does more business than the Waitrose which is there.
That's
yeah.
The question. It's what we are trying to do, Anup, is we are trying to see after 7-9 years which mall are we building in Middle East. What I'm saying is there's no department store there in this mall. Obviously, you first said from 60 it's already come to 40% fashion offering. So which means my anchor actually is the entertainment and the food offering.
Yeah. I would even more provocative, although I'm fully with you, I fully understand what you're saying, but turn it on its head. I think, why can't the one mall be the one anchor? Yeah. So why can't we have equilibrium of shopping, and the mall becomes an immersive department store? Yeah, where you cater to any need, whether it's fashion, social services, lifestyle, food, entertainment. Yeah, and you go to London and Harrods, it's doing it. Maybe not in all facets, but they probably cover 80% what you would find in a traditional mall as well. So it could be equally. It could be equally. You just have one big and you amplify it, and as I said earlier, sorry that I sound boring, but you create that immersive experience in one big anchor store, and it could be that,
Let me tell you a recent experience I had. I went to New York and I saw this store called Urban Outfitters. I don't know if anybody has seen that on Herald Square.
Yeah.
So this was a 2,000 square feet store of fashion. In the US, almost every retailer is reducing store sizes of fashion retailers. This guy actually opened a 50,000 square feet store. So when you say all experiences together, what he's done is he's actually got fashion and a cafe now inside and a salon inside. And he's got a special area which is about products which you can't get anywhere. So vinyls and records and old amazing stationery. Now, that's what is happening to fashion retail globally. So fashion retail is changing so fast. I remember the biggest online retailer of a country used to be sitting in my office and saying, Amitabh, can you help me? I want to sell these fashion brands online. This is 5 years back, just 5 years back. I said, I don't agree. Fashion will never sell online. And today, fashion is the largest category selling online. So the reason why we are actually discussing anchors is because I believe the whole change in mindsets, because it will affect your design, it will affect everything, because anchors are going to change. As it is, we've been talking about death of department stores for a long time. It's obviously it's a slow death, but that's going to happen one day. Anyway, so we all agree, I think anchors is obviously going to change and evolve and change.
To go to food offerings. Now, actually, I think somewhere, and we've seen this in India and at some point in different countries as well, at one point, sort of fast food restaurants were also anchors. And people used to say, okay, we've got a McDonald's here, this mall is sorted. It's got its basic anchor. But clearly that's changing because the nature of per footfall margin is also going up or altering as a mix. So how do you see food evolving in a mall? Would it stay the general food court where you've got the same 7 mini, sort of mini formats of larger stores that we know and just dishing out the same assembly line pizza? Or is it going to be having fine dining and so on. So how do you see the food offerings in malls changing?
Scale of food offering. We have all that, but I think what we are really talking about, the way we discussed entertainment, how is food going to, I think it's going to become a
Transform,
very
yeah.
important part of the shopping center.
Leonard, we'll start with you.
I think sort of just to flick one back into the anchor thing, the variety aspect is what's going to be key. You know, people are not just looking for the fast food offering anymore and looking towards the future. They're definitely not just going to be looking for the fast food offering. They're going to be looking for the fine dining, the dine-in, the breakfast options, the fast food options, the entertainment and food and beverage combination.
The health
and,
options.
Yeah, so I guess variety would be the anchor, and where food will be going towards the future is, you know, you look at Dubai Mall, the prime example, the variety of food that's available there is endless. People go to Dubai Mall just to eat. And it's sort of becoming a major locking card, you know, not just a shopping element, but the food is sort of a key factor.
Just for the sake of discussion, imagine if the fashion offering at Dubai Mall reduced tomorrow, had to reduce, because 7 years from now, whatever happens online or something changes, would you still go to that restaurant in Dubai Mall and drive through that and pass through that? And that's where the whole idea of discussing food was. Food is going to play a very important role, but if it is not, if you don't have that fashion piece, you're not going to buy fashion from the brick and mortar in that level, then how would it impact food?
There's where the lifestyle, there's where the balance comes in. Yeah? Do you think Dubai Mall would have that amount of restaurant if it wasn't for the extraordinary leisure content? If it wasn't for the fountains, do you honestly believe every food retailer is queuing up to get a space on the terrace? Of course, you know, if you create that destination, Dubai Mall has nothing to do with shopping anymore. You know, and I like their thinking about the center of now. It's not sold as a shopping mall. It's sold as a urban center with so many choices of lifestyle, entertainment, spending your time. Shopping is merely a collateral damage of it. Yeah. So they got it 100% right. And if you speak to the IMA, they will tell you they still were not ambitious enough. And guess what they do now? They add another 1 million square foot, of which, quite importantly, lifestyle will be the major component. You know, so and I think we have it right in front of our nose, the destination mall of the future. It's Dubai Mall.
Do you want to add something?
I'd like to add one more thing over here to your point. Very well said. In fact, I would also say a lot of these things depends on the cultural pattern, the location, the country specific as well. I'll just give you a very specific example. I come from India and I've just recently moved in over here. So I would say India actually has become completely mallified, right? The only gateway for me and for my kids is basically malls. So whether it is fashion, entertainment, shopping, or any kind of stuff, food is there. So what happens is every Sunday or every Saturday then when we have to go out, that's for sure, it goes unsaid at home that the lunch is outside. After you have a shopping experience or if you, after you have a entertainment movie even seen across, that remains there. So just to reply to Amitabh's question, whether if fashion goes down or something else goes down, I'm sure the malls will get their balance act coming up because they have to do their business. We all are here for business. So I'm sure either the entertainment zone will pick up or something else will happen through, but it will always thrive and the food will always remain there. So I think food is something which will never go down.
Right. Sure, I know.
One thing I'll tell you is, food court is still going to remain. F&Bs are still going to remain. I think the best way of distribution that I've seen in this part of the world is Mall of Emirates. And if you see for the past 1 year, they removed all their common benches. If you see, they removed all the common benches. The people say that the math says, if you want to sit, you want to sit in a coffee shop. They're making you spend money. So after every few corridors, they have coffee shops in every corner, F&Bs in every corner, food court, and I think it always works. People always have to eat. They can't buy. They don't want to always buy fashion, you know.
And if they have to sit, they still have to go to a coffee shop. Right.
Just one comment also. The online business in the end, he will need stores to also to sell his product. Regardless, he has online. And you heard the rumor or stories about Amazon is opening their store and that. That's another of thing that people, they're going to look at. There is a lot of things who are going to be online, but realistic, they need to have a customer service or customer unit or department or store, people to come or meet or that, anything. So this is another adjustment for the fashion that, yes, it is maybe the big chunk, it's being done online, but there is a unit where people come and examine the product inside on it. That's one of the things. Regarding about real estate usually they are easy to adapt to change for their format, regardless. I'll give you an example. In the last year, we noticed in our mall there is the number of car exhibition going on to the extent, and big demand for me. They do launching all their new products in a mall. To the extent I'm receiving now a call from car dealer, could we have you a car showrooms in your malls? Which I said, well, it's not in my tenant mix, but I promise you I will study that. Now, in Egypt, for sure I know, some of the shopping mall, maybe Mr. Jalal could correct me there, they have a car shopping, car dealers within their properties.
Yeah.
So the adjustment could be done here and there, where people go. The bottom line, you have a platform, they have heavy traffic, I think 75 million in Dubai Mall, 35 in Emirates, 16 in Red Sea Mall. And this platform of traffic, you will find somehow, somewhere, somebody need to get benefit out of it.
It's very interesting that you mentioned car, because cars can actually present themselves not just as cars. These days, people, as you know, Ferrari probably sells a lot of allied stuff for Ferrari rather than the car itself, because others are willing to partake what has been a huge brand. So that can be an interesting retail experience. Do you want to just sum this up for us? These points have been interesting, and they yet somewhere tell you that you've got to have a bit of everything.
No, I think the idea was to really just discuss a view on the future. And I think what really comes out of this discussion is we're talking about mega centers. We're talking about a mega center with lots of entertainment, and entertainment for different age groups, which means we're going to really build entertainment for different age groups. We're talking about a lot of food offering, which is going to grow from what it is today. Entertainment is going to grow in terms of space we allocate to entertainment will grow, obviously. Food will grow. We're talking about design. Because entertainment is going to change, the scale of entertainment, obviously it will impact the design, and it will have to really keep in mind the kind of entertainment we're talking about. We're surely seeing a change in anchors, and obviously the anchor is going to be a different kind of anchor. He might not be a department store, he might not be a hypermarket, that might just become a part of it, but anchor could be an entertainment, it could be a food offering. So I think the view of, if you really close your eyes and see what this mall looks like, it's a mega center with lots of entertainment, food, less of fashion and lifestyle products. It's basically an entertainment destination, yeah?
Yeah. And you want to just sort of reflect on the video that you wanted to show?
The idea about that video was that that's where the consumer is going. That's how he's shopping. So I think shopping centers should see where the consumer is going and what's he thinking, and we must plan a shopping center of the future.
Right. And somewhere I think, although we've spoken more about what would be the physical offerings, Sylvia was alluding to the fact that at somewhere there will be that whole digital experience. It'll be a collapse of what seemed like just brick and mortar walls, but it introduced the idea of allowing your customer to have that experience even while they're walking through the mall.
Let me also just say that I was just reading somewhere that in the US, the online business is very large, but it's still 12 to 15% of the total retail business. So I see this as a very it's just 1% of the Middle East business. So I think the idea was to just discuss what could be the shape of things to come, but obviously online has lots to catch up till they really come to a situation and change the whole game of shopping centers.
Right. And I think that would take us to the concluding remarks about we all spoke about specifics here, but really the big picture, if you were to pick up 2 ideas that you think would redefine the way retail is in the region, what would you pick? Sylvia, do you want to take that to start with?
So your question was what I see the future.
2 things that you think, and I don't mean them to be part of this list, but really, what would be the 2 overarching ideas of the future, 10 years down, for retail?
Immersion, digitalization.
Okay. Mr. Lavi.
I think that in this region, the youth movement and the localization and culture, it will be playing a big role in our future of our shopping mall. So I think localizations, human resource, that's an issue that we're going to drive our new shopping malls and even the need of shopping mall. And the other thing is digitalization for sure, where I think that it's adding a value and also at the same time it's adding a threat we need to work out with it.
Okay. Lee?
Yeah, I think it's been spoken a lot, but certainly technology and applying technology to the challenges and opportunities. And I think just as the industry grows, I think just an increased concentration on building more quality products and aligning better to our market.
Leonard?
I would say the first one is variety, which is going to be key towards the future, and convenience, as time is of the essence.
Reggie?
I think we have got everything over here by now. But then I would say scale probably will also play one of the most important roles. I will just like to quote one example over here. Just about a week back, I was with one of the very technologically advanced guy who has probably, no one knows about it till now. It's going to come up very soon, and probably we'll be seeing it in Expo 2020 probably. He's created a technology wherein any scale and size of the glass, simple straight glass, can be created into an LED, an actual LED, which means something of this sort, this is too small. I mean to say a complete full building doesn't require electricity, doesn't require any kind of a power or anything of the sort, but it actually becomes your communication tool. So for example, something of that sort probably could be very, very instrumental. I'm just giving an example of a scale. Now, if that scale can be, imagine my or our IMG theme park, which is coming up now with the dome. We know it, many of the people are out over here know it's so difficult to create that kind of a dome for this kind of scale we are talking about. Imagine if that would have been there about 5 years back or 3 years back, and a huge dome, which is without power or anything of the sort and is fully of glass, can be interactive, communicative. It is a differentiator. It's definitely a scale with a differentiator. So that's what I would feel. So.
Okay. Anoop, do you want to have the final word?
I think design and technology with convenience.
Okay.
This is what.
Do you want to conclude that the way it's sort of
I think,
shaping?
Yeah, I think it's shaped the way we wanted it. The idea was to really look at the future of shopping centers.
Any questions in the audience for this concluding session? We do have some questions. There's a mic right on the aisle on the left of your desk. Please do introduce yourself.
Hello. Good afternoon to all of you. My name is Partha, and I'm representing the 7 Seas Group. My question is to the entire panel of people sitting over here. As we have discussed and took up the topic of the face of retail is changing, and how do we look forward 5 to 10 years down the line. We have around 35 malls, medium to large size in Dubai, in and around. And my question is, going forward 10 to 15 years, do you think that the development of the new malls and shopping centers will reach a saturation point? If not, do you have the required space, infrastructure, and the necessary customer base to pull in those customers to the malls? Because not all malls are successful. We open up a mall, but the retailers who are inside the mall, they face a lot of difficulties until and unless the customers comes to their mall.
Sure. So we got that. Is there any other questions, so we can just get those answered all together? Okay, I think while some of the issues raised there have been answered, but I think the way I'd like to put it is, are we saying that it's an exaggeration that some malls will just die or go off the wayside, or will the idea of the mall kind of sustain itself if it can evaluate change?
You need to innovate. The malls, the older malls have to always innovate themselves. You have to always churn your brands. You have to always bring in new elements. And I think there's a thumb rule which we all follow. I don't know in standards is every 50,000 people you can build a 1 million square feet mall. Build a 1 million square feet mall. So I think on that basis, Dubai has still long way to go. And I think Dubai is increasing in terms of tourism every day. It's growing. And even UAE itself is growing. So there is definitely an opportunity to grow up. But older malls, they need to innovate themselves. Otherwise, they will not survive. Yeah.
Do you want to give a perspective?
Two things. The first point is, will the more malls come? Absolutely. And I do believe, you know, if you look at the history, the last 20 years of Dubai or the UAE, if you would have asked the same question 20 years ago, people would have probably said no. Yeah? If you would have asked the same question 10 years ago, people probably would have said no. If you ask the question now, a lot of people say no. Yeah, but if you look at the latest announcements, which everybody is kind of laughing at a bit now, the mall of the world. Now we're talking about 4.8 million square foot. Where's this going to go? But if you look at the history of Dubai, it needs it. Dubai needs that momentum. Dubai needs that dynamic. Dubai needs that. And for me, there's a clear division. The mega malls attract the destination seeker, the values, the tourist, the local tourist, the international tourist, the aspiring resident. The smaller malls will always have the need to cater for everybody who comes with that kind of development. Because building a new shopping mall will not just mean where all the customers come from. Building a new shopping mall will create so many jobs, so many opportunities for new immigration, for new expatriates, for the local communities, that the population will grow with it. So the market share. So when we saw that, you know, Mall of Emirates didn't go downhill when Dubai Mall came. Yeah, nobody suffered when Murder City Center opened on top. Yeah, and even if you look at Little Arabian Center in Al Mizar, which is just around the corner from the city center, the first year was tough. But since then, it has totally re-established itself. So what I'm saying is, if you do your homework as mall operator, despite tough competition, even in front of your nose, you can create a business model which enables you to be sustainable.
True, and let's not forget the customers at the center of it is always looking for change, variety, as someone said. And why not different malls? Because let them have the option of not going to the same one and see different stores, but go to different malls and see different stores. All right, we conclude this particular session, but I'd like to really thank everybody for being, sorry, did you want to make a point there? I'm so sorry. Sure.
Yes, please. Today in the early morning session was talking about the data and how we should move out from data to information to actions. I think one of the initiatives I would love to see from Images Retail Middle East here, Mr. Amtab, is if we could have next year forum is about data era. One of the big mistakes we're going to create in these regions, assessment of development or non-development without having a right platform for retail performance indicators. We don't have one single indicator here. We don't know the footfall, sales, growth, basket size, by category, by fashion, by food. I could answer you yes or no about how we're going to reach exaggeration in this region, but this is nonsense if we don't have a very reliable indicator for the performance of retail and sector by sector. Here where we could flag, red flag or green flag said, continue invest in entertainment, continue invest in food, continue invest, stop investment on fashion because exaggeration came here, the disposable incomes had reached the maximum. Guys, you are hurting yourself. But without this platform of data, and we all have to share, retailer, developer, government agencies, all of us, and we come with this indicator to assess where the risk and where are heading about it.
I think you've just given me the perfect cue for what I was about to say is, looking at next year, he already highlighted some of the things that are completely missing in this market, and this is a great opportunity, Amitabh, you should take the cue to look at some of those retail indicators that can become a learning, and eventually over a period of time, huge research for people to understand the state and the way retail is growing in the region. Even as I thank all of you for being here over these 2 days, I think what we've come away with is sort of a massive bandwidth of knowledge, of ideas, of what lies ahead, and more importantly, also understanding much in depth, what is specifically the future of design, what is the data going to be used for, how social media will change your life, how will you deal with consumers, how much feedback will you take, and as I was saying through the day, the very fact that if consumers are getting you to work harder, that tells you you need to look less at your competition but more at your customer, and then design and define how you're going to explore your futuristic retail experience. So at all points, Images Retail 2014 Forum has made a serious effort to bring more and more people together, for example, through the CEO conclave of business owners and CEOs, to actually get people to interact, because the more we interact, we realize in business, being collaborative over competitive can only give you a better future, higher returns, more market size, and so on. So I think as we look at all of you participating next year, we'd like you to continue to be a part of this fraternity, keep in touch with all the publication, the material that's going to come out from Images Retail, and not to forget, stay in touch on social media. A lot of you are currently even on your Facebook or are checking your smartphones. At the rate 2014 Images Retail is at 2014 MRF, which is Middle East Retail Forum. So follow them and get a sense of what's going on in the retail sector, because next year when we all meet, I suppose you'll all be richer with thoughts, richer with ideas, and we'll also be put to the test of coming up with harder, tougher questions on the changing scenario. Thank you once again on the behalf of everybody at Images for being part of this session. Thank you.